You kind of got to speak up so the microphone can pick you up over here.
A little bit. Maybe not too much.
I'm looking at you, Phil.
Right. Me and my quiet voice. It's an issue for me. It really is.
Why so shy, Phil?
It's not even like being shy. It's just
Self-spoken.
Just don't
yeah,
talk
just don't
loud.
talk
Yeah.
loud. Yeah. But yeah.
Well,
It's understandable.
I'm excited. This is episode 5. We've been very excited for our 5th episode. We're glad to have you guys. I'm Chase Todd. This is Phillip Hazen.
So
This is the Phil and Chase podcast, and these are our 2 guests this week. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
Johnny Cash, Jimmy Puffett, a.k.a.
Two Shoes.
Two Shoes, Tipsy Gypsy, I don't even know.
Bob Gnarly.
Yeah.
Is another good one.
You're on it with the
There's a lot.
nicknames.
The
just
list
like Phil.
goes on, but it's...
alright.
Or Shep for the people in the streets.
The list goes on and on.
On and
My-
on, man.
My list is much shorter. It's Humbly G, but you also might see me with Smoking Space and Rogue Tendency.
Rogue Tendency. Green
So-
Team. Much love.
So again, a couple of local musicians from the area. It's nice to have you guys. You know, Grant, I mentioned earlier, you're a slippery son of a bitch. I've tried working with you for fucking years, and you don't know this, but I've been a force coming at you for years. We were gonna work together eventually. We've been in each other's orbit. You know, we collaborate with some of the same people.
Why haven't you just messaged me, man?
I don't know. I don't do social media. And
Yeah, he
shit.
done. He
Yeah.
done.
So
Know that.
unless I grab a phone number or something, it's like that can be weird sometimes.
Depends on how you go about it. If you're like, "Hey Grant, what are you wearing? I heard
Well,
you're
that's
a
my
great
that's
producer."
my that's my customary. You know, when I'm trying to get
It's
a
the way we
producer,
do
the
it.
first thing I ask is, "What are you wearing?"
I mean, it's a good question.
It's a good
It
question.
really tells you
Really-
what kind of producer they are.
Yeah, like what kind of taste do you have? How good are you at producing music? You know, like your style says a lot about that.
Since you can't see him in person, you have to. You just have to ask the message.
You know, come to think of it, we sort of worked together a couple of times because I was y'all's first caller for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
King Arthur.
I was King Arthur.
In the flesh.
yeah.
The
I was ready to
conspiracies,
call
bro.
you guys every week and do this fucking King Arthur shit until I died. I was, but y'all wouldn't answer the goddamn phone. So I was like, you know what?
Hey,
That's all right.
homies help homies.
We'll retire it. But
King Arthur died.
That was probably the week I wasn't there.
That was probably what happened.
I was probably wrestling.
Eric
that
was
week.
running the
so.
booth, and I'm pretty sure someone was calling in. He's like, "I think someone might be calling in, but I don't know how to get you on the air. I'm sorry."
Funny.
well,
Just a
It
couple
happens.
guys.
we got to co-host the show.
Yeah. Rogue
couple weeks
Roundtable.
ago. Rogue
Yeah.
Roundtable. Y'all want to talk about Rogue Roundtable for a minute?
Yeah. I mean, Rogue Roundtables. I don't even remember how, like, we've changed it so many times, I don't even remember how it started, to tell you the truth. We just kind of got together and we had an idea. We're still running with this idea. Rogue Roundtable's just been our starting point at WEFT. We all wanted to do radio stuff. I always wanted to be a disc jockey growing up, actually.
Yeah.
As funny as it is. I think it's dope.
Why is that funny?
You
You just don't think that's a very sought after position for like the kids out there that are like astronaut, model,
disc
jockey. Yes.
They're like, excuse me,
You know
what?
something though? Dude, I don't know if you guys had anything like this. When I was in grade school, like 5th grade, I think, we had this thing. I can't even remember what it was called, but it's like this building. You go to it. There's a fake town inside, and all of you are like little 5th graders. You're assigned jobs in this town.
That's dope.
And you have to apply for the jobs. It's this whole simulation, essentially, to like
Apply.
teach kids like how like all that shit works.
Damn.
I even then I was like big on entertainment and stuff, so I tried to be the cameraman at the news station. I tried to be the disc jockey in town. That job I fucking pushed for. I was like, I want to be the disc jockey. They made me a fucking accountant, man, at the bank. I'm like, are you shitting me? This is like some I don't know. That's some cliche shit. Like, you know. And here I am, this artist trapped at the bank, writing checks out to the rest of the town.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I like it. I like being on the radio. It's fun. We get to fuck around. It's downtown, so you can go out a little bit beforehand. Sometimes it hasn't even been a planned thing, but you just have a cup of drinks. Next thing you know, you're on the radio like, what? Shooting dick pics off or something. That was a embarrassing moment.
What are you even talking about?
That was a thing that happened.
You shot off a dick pic?
You don't remember this? Well, no, allegedly. Allegedly.
Oh, allegedly. Okay.
Allegedly.
So it didn't actually happen.
I said it was a risky picture, but then I thought, wasn't it? Was it you or was it somebody?
I feel like you're dancing around this one, man.
It was either you or Easy or something. No, because we were on air and I did it, and like I was talking to this chick.
What?
You know.
Okay. Was it an old picture? Or did you take it on air?
No, I didn't take nothing on air.
Oh, okay.
Devalues
the story.
While we're in the booth, we're just like,
What's
more
this
light.
motherfucker doing? Whooping out his dick?
He's adjusting the lamp.
No, that didn't happen. No, it was just like it was a miscommunication on my end. I had a couple drinks that night. You know, things happened. But then, like while we were live on air, my face turned beet red. So they was like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "No, it's really embarrassing. I can't. No, I just had something really embarrassing just happen in my personal life. I can't."
But when you
like,
say that to a room full of guys who are your friends, we're like,
Right.
Yeah, you're live on air.
Tell me what this
So I
is.
was like, I sent off what you could consider a risky picture to somebody in a miscommunication.
And instantly Easy was like, so a dick pic. And then I'm pretty sure it was you three without me. And then I was editing it later with you guys in the room. And
But
was like,
I think it was you.
what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Was it not you? It was either you or somebody though that like the next week or after that we were doing something.
And they commented.
a girl that was like there was like, she does WEF too or something like that or something. Got onto it and he was like, yeah, we do it on Saturday nights. And she's like, oh yeah, what time? And you're like 10. And she's like, oh, the motherfuckers to talk about dick pics.
I was doing a music video,
risky
and the guy
picture.
one of the two who was helping to film a lot of it a month or two ago. We were over at 25 O'Clock Brewery, and his a friend of his showed up, and yeah, she works at Weft, and this was the person that he's talking about.
That's funny.
Yeah, she said she likes the show though, so still a positive review
Yeah, that's
despite
good. He
the
told me about
mixed
the like
signals. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, he told me about the people like at the bar across like the alley, like when you got the speakers on outside, you can hear it.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's a good audience, right? Just a bunch of drunk.
Well, we found out last night. Actually, they turn off at 10 p.m. City
those
ordinance.
motherfuckers. It was the dick
So
pics.
it's like,
The dick pics,
except
they
for
showed up.
us.
Yeah, they're like, you know, you were talking about those dick pics that one
No,
time.
I
you're
never
rowdy,
said that.
Don't get
dude.
too rowdy. The
I
rowdy
literally
table.
said risky pictures. Okay, that can mean multiple things. Multiple things.
It's all the same.
It's all the same though. Yeah, I'm an adult. I'm 32.
It could have been driving without a seatbelt. Also not safe, kids. Don't do.
I
fair enough.
make my own decisions and live my own life. So you
Just
can
your
hate if
hands
you
off the
want,
steering
but it's
wheel.
what it
It's
is.
just
And it makes for good radio, coincidentally. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
It made for good radio, and like we're still moving on the up with that. Things are happening. Not really with the radio. I mean, we're just doing the same fucking thing,
Right.
but other things are in the works.
Yes, great.
so my version of the thank you. So my version of the story is slightly different.
Probably a lot more.
To be fair,
Of
so
the
Johnny.
of the dick pic story.
No,
Oh,
I have
different
nothing to do
story.
with the dick pic
Different
story.
story. Different story.
That's
My
my
bad.
final.
My bad. Disconnect.
That's my final version of that.
Moved on from the
Yeah,
dick
I don't know anything about this because I had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right.
It was sprung on you.
Yeah,
Just
exa-
like that. poor girl.
well, wouldn't use that language, but you know, as things happen out or fall out. Anyway, the idea of the radio show initially, I had done Rogue Roundtable, something like this in the past, right? I'd call it Feedback, and it was specifically about music.
Right.
Right. And we also wanted to do some of the other arts and all this, and we did a couple shows with it and did a little bit of it, but couldn't keep this consistency up, and it was also difficult because our main space was, at the time, Sip Yard, and we weren't getting paid, which was fine with us at the time, but it also meant that because they wanted to be able to let us play music and all this, we would be basically pop-up surprise. So there was no promotion, no one would know that we're there. We would show up with an artist, they would perform, and then we would interview them and like have music play or something afterwards, right?
Right. Okay.
We did this a couple of times, right? Went fairly well, but with the weather with it being outside.
Yeah.
With all this, it was kind of always up in the air. We had to cancel some things. So we wound up being like, well, skip that. There's so much work involved that we should just do this at a secure location. We have a studio. We can just do it over there.
Right.
Well, things just kind of, I was working a lot, and I think things were changing up, and I was moving. And so we kind of dropped it. Well, that was a couple of years ago. Tried to get it back and up and going. I'd been talking to a couple of people about it. D'Angelo, Black Mage, really wanted to get it going again. He said that there was somebody who wanted to get a radio show going and that I knew them, but he couldn't remember his name. So I waited around. Rob K told me he had somebody he wanted to introduce me to. Again, didn't get the name, but I knew, Rob K knew, so I actually showed up to one of Rob K's parties, or shows, rather, that he was throwing. That was at a house show, right? And I'm like, cool, I'll get a chance to talk to him. But he's doing his thing, running the event. He's running all around. And over here is this very friendly looking guy. And I walk right up to him. I'm like, hey, man, what's your name? And he's, Eric. All right, Eric. Well, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I don't know. I really like music, all this. And I was like, all right, cool. Why do you look familiar? And he's like, because you were on my radio show like a year or two ago. I was like, oh, okay. I showed up for the last like 5-10 minutes of his radio show, right? And he had met Rob K and Black Mage and a bunch of us all at the same time there. Thought we all were like part of the same crew, all part of Row Tendency or something, right?
Yeah.
So turns out Eric Zarneski, who is on our show, is that Eric, and that is the person that D'Angelo and Rob were both trying to introduce me to this whole time.
Met him on your own.
Yeah, and so then I wound up going and talking to Rob later. I'm like, hey man, and he's like, hey, that guy over there is the person you should talk to about that. I was like, yeah. I hear you. Right? I mean, at that point, it was just like, cool, I got you. Right, like, it's done. There were a lot of forces at work that wound up getting things together. So then it was us meeting together. Mario Scruggs, the fourth person, I just had a chance meeting with because I had somebody recording at my place. And they were like, hey, I'm going to bring my cousin. Is that okay? Yeah, sure. Came through, and usually when someone brings someone else to the studio, they do one of three things. They're on their phone the whole time. They're trying to pay attention, but they don't know what's happening.
Right.
Or they're like on it, right? This guy was on it. He was standing, not sitting, standing a couple feet behind me while I was in my chair at the computer station watching everything. Very clearly understood what was happening. And there would be times eventually where we're doing a take and the artist would go, hey, I did that take, what do you think? And I go, well, it was pretty good. I think there was a time maybe around the second line that you like fumbled on a word. And Rio right behind me is like, yeah, it was this word here and that right beginning of the third line. You should check that out. And I was like, he was right. And, so it was eventually at the end of the session, I'm like, so Rio, what do you do? Like, what do you know all this, but you haven't like talked about yourself, which is very unusual for someone in this business. And so I've come to find out he was a touring metal bassist and has several children and was living off of being a touring metal bassist, right? He had a business going. Right. So he did that. He put himself through most of marketing school, and he's trying to do a DJ business. He's got a bunch of stuff. So immediately I was like, hey, you should come through. I was like, what do you want to try and get a label going in the area or something like that? And he's like, yeah, maybe something like that. So I have interest in that and always have. And I always thought that the idea of making a network-based news outlet platform that was feedback, Rogue Roundtable, whatever it was, would be perfect to start that out, because to make a label, you need a huge network. And you need to have a very large range of quality of entertainment and all this stuff, right? So the idea to me was basically just keep doing things, and if they fall into place, pursue that. If they don't, stop putting your efforts into it. Because I'm 29 now, and I've been doing this for a while. I have a bachelor's in Spanish that helped with my writing skills and my language skills, but oftentimes people don't see that kind of, one-to-one. So, I don't know, for me, the radio show, I had a lot of thought behind it, obviously, but as you can tell, Shep's been there every show except one. I've been there for 2/3, man, because, Saturday night.
You got a lot of shit.
Yeah, I'm in a band. We just did an album release. We had 3 shows that we did last month.
I think, weren't you going to ask him about that?
I was just going to ask how it was.
Oh, wow.
It's going pretty well. So we got a lot of merchandise. This is the most merchandise I've ever had for any kind of release or band ever before. We got
dope shit, aliens.
Yeah,
Can't hate on that.
can't hate on that.
I love aliens, man.
And MK Nova's the other half of Smoke and Space. Her little sister is the one who came up with the design for one of the art designs on the hoodies and on stickers. It's just a little alien in a spaceship, and smoke's coming out of it, and it says "Smoke and Space" in the smoke.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
She designed that.
Yeah.
Little tugboat. Is
Yeah.
that what you guys call her?
Yeah, we call it a little tugboat.
That's dope.
She's
Dope shit.
this high school girl, and she wanted to be a rapper, and so for a while she was writing these fire flame bar verses, and
Right.
we started calling her
we
Little
was about
Tugboat. We kept trying to get her in on shows.
Yeah,
It
on
was
Rogue
funny.
Tendency, we was all about it. We was like, hell
We
yeah,
did get her on
man.
stage one time.
Oh,
She
yeah.
booked a show with us another time and canceled the day of because she had like finals coming up. But anyway,
Is what it is. We still did our thing.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the album release. We so this was not only to get the most merchandise. This was the most promotion I'd ever probably done for a release as well. We had 14 songs, 15 features. So every song had at least one.
Yeah.
We did a video kind of like this where we had artists, as many as we could from the album, not all of them live in town or in state even, come over, and we would talk about the song, how we made it, anything else they wanted to talk about it, and we did that for every single song and would post that up. And then we also, and what was really tough about this is we were not consistent with our social media beforehand, right? So this was the entrance for a lot of people into things, and it was just like guns blazing straight out, right? So we did that. We did 2 music videos, one with Matt Harsh and Andy Phillips, and it was through Andy that we met the girl through WEF that said the comment about the dick pics. But
See?
I didn't say nothing.
It's that kind of
Risky pics.
Risky pics.
I miss
Risk pics. Yeah.
Risk pics.
It's
I'm
that
a
kinda- it's that
modest
thing that we,
man over here, alright?
Yeah, it's that thing that we talked about. It's that cosmic sort of, there's forces you don't realize are always
really
coming
is,
at you
yeah.
and leading you down a certain kind of path.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's very, I don't know if you're aware, but right now here at PCP, we're celebrating Wuvember. We're talking all things Wu-Tang and wellness
Kung
this
Fu
month.
and wellness. Yeah.
Kung Fu, wellness. I didn't know if you did your homework or not. We didn't fill you in very well, so here we are now.
I got pretty much that sentence
So,
in prep.
fair enough. So I guess, first off, as usual, we'll cover Wu-Tang. Do you have thoughts on the Wu-Tang Clan? You a fan?
Blank slates when it comes to the woo. No, my first introduction was probably through Dave Chappelle's show, if I'm being honest.
Oh, the Wu-Tang Financial, isn't that what it was? The skit?
Yeah, but I think they showed up in one or two before that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Anyway, yeah, through that, and then just at my high school we had a student lounge,
Yeah.
and they would play all sorts of music, and Wu-Tang Clan was played, and so I listened to Wu-Tang without knowing it was Wu-Tang there.
Right.
And then in college, again, people kind of got me into it, and then obviously getting more into the hip hop and rap scene, people are huge fans because they're one of the most influential bands of all fucking time for the genre. Like, it's just is what it is, and they're a huge group, and they've got so much talent and so many individuals there, and of course, not all of them are still with us, but
Right.
they've
R.I.P.
left us with so
ODB.
many. Yeah, and that 36 Chambers
Little baby Jesus.
first album that came out, was it 92, 93, something like that?
36 chambers, they're 93.
5 or 6, I believe.
No, it's 93, I think.
Maybe they formed in
maybe it was
92,
93.
93, and they
No, it's, I
I don't know.
believe
You
36
think we know?
chambers, yeah.
We've been on top of it. We've been reading the book. We've been watching the
93.
show. I've been reading
Wiki
the book.
it.
Point is, 93 was a great year for hip hop.
Yeah.
That's
It was.
early mid 90s, and they were one of the super groups, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Wu-Tang.
know.
They were a reverse supergroup, like
yes,
They started as a group and all branched
they
off
formed like
doing,
Voltron and then they split off with their separate ways. That was RZA's plan the whole time. RZA initially put them together. He's like, I got all these talented friends. He's like, I want all of them to come up with me. So we're gonna form this group, and we're all gonna come up together. And he's like, I'm gonna work hard as a producer to make sure that every single one of these dudes makes it as a solo artist too. And so RZA, like, he put in the time. He really It was pretty cool. So yes, they are like a reverse supergroup. You know, I feel like that's maybe why the other albums seem different. Because it's like once they went out and became their own solo artists, and they came back. Okay, now these are their like super group-esque albums, you know.
Yeah,
I got to see him live at Bonnaroo.
Oh,
that was a main accomplishment for life.
I'm pretty sure Megan did too.
Oh, really?
Because I grew. That was like 2013 or 14, one of those years.
That's awesome.
I saw some girl like fucking shake and fall down and fall out. Man, they carted her off pretty fast.
What the Kid Cudi
Yeah,
concert?
Kid Cudi. Yeah, some chick like will just dance her heart out like for the the opener.
Yeah.
Never even made it to Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
fuck.
It sucks, bro.
Yeah.
I've never.
That poor chick just like.
I don't think I've
Listen
ever
to us.
been to a show like that. That I never made it to see the people that I came to see.
Yeah.
I had a friend.
Made through all the shows.
I had a friend do that at Cottonmouth Kings.
Yeah.
We was all smoking and stuff before we went in heavy. Back when we was high schoolers, and
Did you pass out?
yeah, we was watching Pepper. It was the first time. I know you guys know the band Pepper. They're fucking great. It's like a kind of Sublime-esque band. And so this is the first time I had ever seen them. So I was like, holy fuck. I was like 17. So I was like, holy fuck, who are these guys? And my buddy Chris was right next to me. He's like, I'm going to go get some air. So I don't know what he was doing, but he's basically, I'll be right back. And I guess he went like 2 people behind me and just face planted down, out. I didn't even notice, man. The whole fucking show, I was sitting there by myself, like, man, where is this guy?
I'm worried about him. He's like 10 feet from me.
Nah, I finally found him, and he was like he was chilling with some chick that like he met outside when they took him out to get air, and then because a lot of shit happened. Then the guy that drove us, he did the same thing and hit his head on a table. And when he woke up, he was with like 6 chicks at this table. I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "They was taking care of me." And then my buddy John Radcliffe, like the second we walked in there, he just like veered off on his own. And then we didn't see him until the very end outside. He met back up with us, and he's like, "That show was really good." We're like, "The hell were you the whole time?"
Medical care.
I don't know where that guy was, man, but he's doing his own thing. It was fun, man.
Half y'all just passed out.
That was like my first taste. Like that's when I lived in St. Louis, and my first taste to like a weird concert that like laws really didn't apply at. Because
I've had a few experiences like that.
Well, the first one
this point,
the first Cottonmouth Kings concert we went to was on a whim. We were in high school, you know what I'm saying, at school one day.
bless you.
And I had a flash animation class, so we were all on computers and shit. And I just looked up, I don't know why, Cottonmouth Kings, and it was like, oh, they're playing tonight over in Sauget, and it was $20 a ticket. It's like, dude, we need to go. So we all went, and like 5 of us went. We rolled deep, and we rolled a bunch of joints and shit like that. And so when we got there, it was like, let's smoke some fucking joints and some of these blunts and stuff before we go inside. And we're passing this huge ass blunt around, man. And we hear the metal on the glass tap, 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 tap. And we're like, shit. So the guy holding the blunt in the passenger seat, I believe it was, he rolls the window down. No, he's in the driver's seat. Because we had seen a stripper. Because it's like down there, I don't know if you ever went to Pops and saw.
This is a story where the
dude.
further I get into the details, the more lost I've gotten.
Right, I'm like,
not
what
gonna
am I
lie.
talking about?
Sorry. So,
Bring me back.
Sauget, Pops nightclub in Sauget
Yes.
is a nightclub, and there's 2 strip clubs that have,
Gosh.
and they all share the same parking lot.
Now I'm on.
So we park. So we're there smoking this blunt. Stripper comes out. So we're like, hey, 5 fucking teenage boys. We're all, hey, you want to smoke this blunt with us? And she was like, no. Whatever. We're like, all right. We're like, cool, whatever. So when that happens, that was happening out of the passenger seat, and when that happens is when we hear the metal on glass tap on the driver's seat, and we're like, fuck. So the dude, we roll the window down, the cop's there, all the smoke's coming out all up in his face. We're like, shit. We're fucked, man. So he goes down and he's looking all mad, and he gets in and he looks in the car and he's like, hey, you guys can't park here. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, this is the stripper parking. You're not allowed to park here. And we're like, all
You
right.
just start taking your clothes off.
No, but we were like, all right. And he's like, they're like,
Misread the communication there, Shane.
He's like, where are we supposed to park? And he's like, look behind you. And we look behind us, and like every fucking car behind us, because it was probably like January, February's time.
Strippers on the hood of every car.
No, just lighters. You can just see
everyone else was smoking too.
Yeah, you can see
funny.
all the lighters going off, and he's like, "You see where all those idiots are smoking pot? Go fucking park by them." And then like somebody else was like, "Is that all?" And he's like, "Do you want there to be more?" And we're like, "Nah."
Claw me.
I'm like, "That's messed
You know,
up."
I'm glad this is a perfect segue. First and very foremost, White Claw sponsor us. Hell yeah. So this next story is brought to you by White Claw. So Aaron, the last time we saw you,
Yeah.
you left us with a friend of ours, and as you know, as I told you earlier, I'm not one to go out. I don't go out. So this is also a Wuvember story, because this was a story about, with Wuvember, part of the wellness thing is saying yes to things we usually wouldn't, trying new things, see where it takes us.
That's great.
So we went out that night, and thanks to White Claw getting us fucked up enough to say yes. So we went.
Gotta love it, baby boy.
And I think I may have told you we did Campy Club, and I ran into a girl there. Well, I ran into that very same girl at the bar that night. Like as soon as we got there. I thought that was very odd. It was her birthday. I never go out to the bar, and the two times I do,
That is kinda
I see
odd.
the same random person. It's kind of crazy.
Not so random anymore.
Yeah,
Small
so she's
world.
like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go upstairs and do karaoke. So I go upstairs, and I was going to sign up for karaoke. I'm waiting to look at the songbook, and there's this chick standing there. She taps me on the shoulder, and she goes, hey, do you know this song? It was Somebody That I Used to Know by Godier. And I was like, yeah, I know the song. She's like, you want to sing it with me? Total fucking stranger to me. And I said, you know what? Fuck it.
Why not?
You know what? Sure, let's do it. So me and this chick.
Yes.
Her name is Raven. So shouts out to Raven if you ever find this, because I know her friend was taking a video of us, so it may be out there on their Snapchat or something like that. So it just so you know, Raven, I still appreciate the hell out of that night. It was a lot of fun. So we got up there and we busted it out. That was another thing for me. Like I'm weird about my singing voice. I don't think I can sing very well. So I'm like, fuck it, let's do this thing. We crushed it. It was great. So again, shouts out to Raven.
Get you a couple claws in you and you can sing. My
And
man.
then we danced our asses off. See episode 1. We talk about dancing. You gotta dance when you
Dance
can.
when you can.
Dance when you can.
I be dancing all the time,
That's
bro.
the
Like
best
I
advice I've ever heard.
dance
I
when
love
there
to
ain't no
dance.
call for a dance.
You don't need
I
to.
don't even
There
give a
ain't need to be
shit.
no beat. You just do it in your head. Man. Just
Hell
go
yeah.
for it.
Phil often loves to dance to no music.
I'll just dance in the dishes, whatever. Don't
That's what
matter.
I'm saying, bro. Yeah.
Just get a
I be
little
the
jig
same
going.
way.
Yeah.
Eat some good food. Just give it a little.
Yeah, just a
Do a
little.
little happy dance. There you go.
Oh,
Just everybody, we'll just have a little PCP dance party real quick.
Oh.
guys.
oh.
We got the long lamp going.
Why is my go-to move?
The shimmy?
The shimmy, shimmy,
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah. It's Wuvember. ODB.
I don't know if there's been anything this month that I've said yes to that I normally wouldn't probably say yes to.
You need to change that. Wuvember
Well,
is
Well,
clock
I
is
mean,
ticking.
no, I feel you, bro. But like, I mean, yeah, there's still a good chunk of month left. I'm
Start
blessed.
saying no to things that you usually say yes to.
That
Bam! That's
That-
the master level class.
might
That's right.
actually be a good thing to start doing.
It's like
we all
legit
do.
something he promised
Tell you the
himself he would
truth.
start doing recently.
Just
Yeah.
make a list of all the times you said yes and it's gone wrong, and then when those similar situations.
Well, like I said on our radio show, I think it was last week. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop apologizing. Only, but only for like 3 things.
Yeah, it was like for
Next-
existing, for,
Yeah,
for
I'm
things
not
that
gonna.
are not your
yeah.
fault.
Basically, like I'm only gonna. What was it? I'm only gonna apologize like if I cross a boundary, if I like, really hurt somebody's feelings.
Basically, times that warrant it, not just to
Yeah,
apologize.
and
I hear you. A lot of people do it. A lot of people have a problem with like apologizing. We talked about it last week
No, I do.
with your situation,
Oh, yeah.
apologizing to the person who stole your car. Like That's not a time that warrants an apology, really. Like, that's not a, hey, sorry for taking my car.
Right.
It's, but it happens. See, he's got the same issue. Like, and honestly, we probably all do. I don't know about you. Maybe you got a higher confidence level than the rest of us on this couch. But
no, I'd be
I know I
saying sorry
apologize
a
for
lot.
shit I need to apologize for.
But 2K20 is for the Kings, man. It's the Kings year. It's for the boys.
2020, guys.
Yeah, and that's why it's like, nah, you know what? I ain't going to apologize unless it really warrants it. Because if I do fuck people over,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first to admit that and be like, holy, I fucked that up big time. But I'd like to say, like, I don't know of really anybody I've screwed over too much.
Yeah, I feel like
I want to put it out there, like, because there's probably people that don't think too highly of me. I mean, obviously, there's gotta be, but for like my benefit, at least I could say, like, at least recent, like as recent as I can think of, at least I've been brutally honest with everybody. So it's not like I bullshitted them or lied.
But there's like a fine line,
Yeah, so they could be like, I don't like him because he's an asshole, but it's like, but at least I didn't.
First P of the show.
First
P of the show. Phil with that tiny bladder.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. I think
this is a good time. I don't know if he's gonna pee again. So Phillip Hazen's top 5. What are we thinking? What's gonna be his top 5 today?
His top.
He gives a top 5 at the end of every show. He never knows what it's gonna be. So what's it gonna be today?
Oh, interesting.
He pees quick.
Ice cream flavors.
Just think on it, and when we bring it up later, give it to me.
There's no boundaries on what the top 5 is?
Last week, he gave his top 5 women sexy enough to kidnap. Per John's request.
Oh, he's taking requests from John. This changes everything.
Yeah. You can...
Wait, is it...
Man, is he taking a piss? Yeah, there he is. I was getting worried, Phil. I said, the first thing I said when that door closed is he pees quick, and then you were gone for a while.
I almost started screaming. It was too long. Something's not right.
How was it? How was that pee?
It was very satisfying.
Good.
It was great, yeah.
On like a 1 to 10 scale.
On a 1 to 10 scale, I'll probably put out like a 8, 9.
Damn.
It was good.
That's a good
Are you
pee.
eating it?
I was really enjoying it. I was like,
Would you say it is so far the best piss of the season? Of our 5 episodes?
Since the first snow.
So. I think since of all the peas on air,
that's the best one so far.
Best one so far.
Wow, that's a great piss.
Now I'm ready to start talking loud.
Yes, he's here
pissed
to
out
speak
the
up.
quietness.
You pissed out the quietness.
You wanted to
It
say it with
goes.
your chest, but it was gurgling on all the
It
urine.
was drowning in my
Your lungs.
bladder.
But he can feel it.
I feel it though.
Earlier, you guys mentioned something that I think sounds like a fun topic to get into. Last week, we went off on a tangent about racism with John and Kenny, and it was a good time. It was a good conversation.
Yeah,
we had a good
it was a
conversation.
lot of fun.
John's actually a very good person to have that conversation with.
Oh, absolutely. We're having him back soon. He was actually very upset he couldn't be on this week. I was like, I already got these 2 scheduled. Like, he mentioned, he's like, well, we could do everybody. I'm like, we haven't figured that out yet. We're still trying to do the 4-person to a couch thing.
I think we nailed it.
Of course he did.
It's looking a little better today, you know.
All right.
But he's so excited. He's
Cheers,
so excited
John.
to be back, and I'm excited to have him back because he's a great time. Are you friends with him on Facebook? We talked about this last week. His social media antics, the shit he posts, and how
I want to answer this carefully.
He too doesn't condone
also
it.
have him on my Facebook.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So you're familiar. We talked all about this last week. How if you didn't know him,
you would not
you'd
be
like,
friends with
this
him.
guy's fucking a terrorist. He's probably
Insane.
he's insane. Like, you should look out for him. But honestly, I see the shit and I laugh so hard. I think he's so funny. He has such a dark sense of humor that like people just like fuck it. I that's a treat to me. He was right. He was talking about when you just have that random person that just posts crazy shit all the time, puts a smile on your face, and it really does. So shouts out to Nightmare.
Heck yeah.
Love
Can't wait
what
to
you're
have you back.
doing. There was a stand-up comedian I saw recently who said it's only funny to see these types of jokes that push the boundaries and lines coming from somebody who knows the difference.
Right.
And for John, if you know him in person, I've never doubted that he knows the difference,
totally
and that's
knows
exactly what it is.
He's a smart motherfucker. He's getting his PhD. It's
it's ridiculous.
He's enjoy this.
You might edit that. I don't know if he's supposed to have that.
Oh, I'll get it edited out. Don't worry. I keep a mental checklist of the most offensive things people say. Like before I go into editing, I'm like, and that's gotta go. Like there's like sometimes somebody talks about something on the air. It could be any of us. It's been me sometimes. There's just like maybe not everything.
Maybe not the dick pics.
You know.
All right. There's some stories that
Right.
have too much detail. It's like maybe I shouldn't have said all that.
During the dick pic story, I was like this the whole time. But then it took off. It went to a place where I was like, I think we warranted the dick pics as an opener. So
yeah.
I think
It's
you
good.
know.
It's good. Keep it.
I was worried about it. I was like, "Where's this
It's
going?"
a risky pick. Bro.
It was, and you know what?
But
It
it's
is.
risky.
It was
It's
a risky pick.
and we're gonna take the
No
risk.
one said dick pic.
It's
No
Wuvember.
one.
You know, we're gonna take the risk.
knows?
So okay, so yeah, so here's what we're gonna talk about, and I think you'll enjoy this.
You say.
Earlier, you were talking about Smoke in Space,
Yeah.
and your logo, and I just can't help but to wonder what you boys' thoughts are on aliens. So, if you guys want to offer, Phil, you know, let's start with you, man. What,
Everything your
let's
response?
start with you. We're gonna talk about aliens
Yeah,
today.
who wants to start that
We're
one
talking
off?
about aliens. I don't know.
Let's
I
be
mean-
clear, we're talking about outer space aliens.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 2019. We gotta be. We have to.
I was in no confusion about what aliens are.
We jumped from racism last week, and I kept hyping it up, and like there could have been some confusion. I doubt that there was, but I'm just
Yeah.
Anyways,
Um,
extraterrestrial life thoughts.
I mean, I believe in it. To put it out there first and foremost. It's interesting. It's crazy to think about.
This is big news,
But,
Phil.
yeah,
Give it to
it's-
us like it's dramatic.
It is dramatic.
He's a soft-spoken man. God damn it!
Can't ask
I'm
too
sorry.
much of me. No, that happens.
Always telling people to stay humble. This is the humblest son of a bitch. He won't even speak up.
Oh, I just got roasted
so
hard.
He wants you to hear. He wants you to be heard. That's why he speaks softly.
It happens. Oh, he threw it away. He don't even need. I got you. What does anyone else have any opinions on aliens then?
On
Or is
aliens?
it- No.
Scale of 1 to 10. How cool would it be to get abducted?
Depends on the alien.
You know what? That's a great answer. That's a solid answer. It would depend on the alien. It would suck
Yeah.
if it was
Solid 5. I don't know.
adjustable scale. Aaron,
Aliens?
aliens. What do you
I
think?
mean, both thoughts are equally scary. Are we alone in the universe or are we not? Like, both possibilities are terrifying. Either we're the only thing out there, which is weird, or we're not.
You know, and that is weird, and I think that not enough people consider that.
Yeah, I think it would be really even more weird if we were completely alone. I think that would, personally to me, I think that would be more terrifying because it would just put more emphasis on then what the fuck is this all for? What does it all mean then? Like, because it's just us?
Maybe we're
But-
meant to colonize the rest of it.
I don't know, man. Like,
Maybe
because
aliens start here.
I've seen some stuff that's questionable in the sky.
Like a reverse supergroup.
But I don't know, man. Like, I believe there's got to be more out there, just given what we know,
Right.
based on our like modern knowledge of the universe. There's got to be something else out there, but the chances of in our lifetime us ever figuring that out, I don't think we'll know.
You know, on a
You don't
personal
think
level.
so?
Not like hard confirms, unless you get abducted.
I don't know. There's a lot of time left. A lot
Yeah,
of time.
I mean there is a lot of time, man, but I just don't think. I think that I don't know, man, because you're in such a weird state of the world right now that if there was like a national UFO spotting
Like,
that
do you
was
think
all over
people
the news,
can handle it?
I'd be like, that's fake. I don't know if I can believe that.
Right.
Because you got to think, if you believe in there's being like somebody, you know, some group of people controlling the fucking world, the easiest way to get the whole fucking world on the same page in one would be, holy shit, there's aliens. Oh man, they're gonna fucking blow the planet up if we don't get our shit together.
And you know, there's
this
two
is
ways
how.
that pans out. As people who watch a lot of movies, there's two ways that pans out. Either we don't work together and the aliens let us tear each other apart, or it's like Arrival, which is like the greatest alien movie ever. and we all come together.
I don't know, like,
unify.
but I think like it's.
And there's a really sad twist, and we're all real depressed. But we can
been,
talk to aliens and everybody else, so that's cool.
There's been talks, man, in the past couple of years I've seen about, on the dark ends of the internet where they talk about them trying eventually to fake aliens as a real thing.
Right.
With like 3D projecting things and shit.
Yeah.
To make it look like there's spaceships like all over the world.
On like a Mysterio type level.
You never know, man. These days you just never fucking know, and that's what sucks, is you don't know.
Yeah, you can make
but that's why I don't think that... I don't know.
So do you think... Because I was reading Dreamcatcher by Stephen King not too long ago. Still need to finish. I got 50 pages left. What am I doing with my life?
It's probably like an 800-page book.
Yeah, bro. I fucking read through, like, it's almost 500 pages.
So
I
well.
binged the fuck out of it. I hit that last... I have a tendency to do that. I do it with TV shows. I do it with books. Like, I get to the end of the show, and I'm like, that's enough. And I stop. And I walk away. Sometimes I go back. Sometimes it feels like it's such a good show, I don't want it to end. And so I just put it off for as long as I can. And then I go back to it. Sometimes I have to restart it. It's been so long. So it's not a bad plan.
Can I come back and do a show with you where you just watch the end and read the ends of your books?
Absolutely.
And it's just like watching your reaction. And you're like, wait,
what
that happened?
Shit.
Why didn't I finish this?
Yeah, it's like, wow, that was great. That was not so great.
That's the end to Ender's Game?
Yeah. Oh, I could have went without reading the end of that one.
What the fuck was... Oh, yes, Dreamcatcher. So in Dreamcatcher, these aliens have a certain, like, effect on everybody, right? Everybody gets telepathic abilities because of, like, the aliens being there. It's almost like a virus, And it's not, like, cool, It's like everybody can just hear each other's thoughts all of a sudden. And it's like, reading that was honestly, like, probably the scariest part of that book that hit for me. Stephen King, he works on layers. And that one hit me really hard. That one scared the shit out of me. Because the dude was just simply like... Because him and his 4 friends had psychic powers. And everybody else just is getting this. And he's like, dude, people could not handle this. If this happened, if this broke out, if aliens came to this earth and everybody just had the ability to read people's minds... We're fucked. We're done. Like that would not work out well. Like people can hardly handle their shit now.
That's why I never wanted to be
introduce something
Superman,
like that,
dude.
and we are like totally fucked.
Superman can hear everybody.
See, but that's one guy. That's not.
No, I know, but
you
that's
know
what I
mean?
said. That's why I never, like, as a kid, wanted to be Superman.
Right.
Because that would be tough.
Listen, who really wants to be Superman?
A lot of motherfuckers.
We don't deserve you, Johnny.
I'm just saying, man. One of my favorite Superman panels
He's the hero we need.
is the one of him standing on the roof, where it's like you see all the bad stuff happening in the world. Like, it's like all like people being like, "I'm gonna kill myself" and all this stuff, and Superman's just up there with his head down, like he can't save them all, but he has to hear them all.
This ties in with aliens.
I feel like you can control it though.
Superman?
Unfiltered mind thoughts.
I guess it just depends.
I imagine he's taking some clinics on like yoga,
who's writing
and stuff like this. That's like really about mindfulness, right? Like he's like, oh shit, focus on the bunnies, right? Like.
I feel you.
Speaking of aliens, you boys gotten down on Disney Plus?
No, because my girlfriend is obsessed with Star Wars. And she couldn't decide if she was going to take the GRE in a week and a half. And she was like, we're going to watch the whole show in 48 hours.
Well, it's weekly. So there's only 2 episodes out right now. There is no more than that.
The point is, she's not taking the GRE now, so...
Oh.
Any day now.
Any day now? Well, let me tell you, when that day hits, it's fucking dope. We've been watching it. There's some good shit.
I can stream it all on the website.
I'm so scared of Disney.
I don't need to
Don't
pay.
be. Let it happen. We have
That's what all dystopian futures say.
We have an old when we tried to do this
podcast.
When we tried to do an audio version of this podcast, we did a whole thing on the Disney conspiracy and Disney taking over. We're probably going to re-release that old episode, but we believe in it. I'm there for it. I'm actually there for it. It's like.
Then you know about the flotilla they have, right? Yeah, they have the largest.
Yeah.
But I'm there for it. Like if they need a general in their
What
army,
do you need all that for?
You can find all that stuff on the internet for free.
And 75% of the world is
FBI, don't at me.
And they have the largest flotilla.
it's like Nazis aren't cool, right? But like Disney is, and it's like if they get that kind of power,
I mean,
it's like they got Marvel and shit. It's like, listen, sorry guys. I sucked that mouse's dick for sure. Like,
All right, Nike's got good shoes, but ethics.
you know,
Disney, I mean, they're not a
Kanye
shoe
West.
company.
You know,
but-
it's like no matter how you feel about Kanye West, at the end of the day, that man's a fucking genius.
Oh, I love
Musically
Kanye.
or otherwise, you
I
know.
love him.
right.
Who doesn't like Kanye West?
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
They're not my friend.
I think we're about to have this conversation. It's about to dive in deep because this is the thing.
What's happening? Are we still talking about Disney or Kanye before we move forward? I need to know.
If you are going to isolate someone's value to what they do as their primary craft,
Mm-hmm.
right, then you start to get into the arguments about should you never have Mein Kampf around from Hitler, right?
Okay.
You start to get into all of these manifestos from all these dictators and things. You start to get into cancel culture with R. Kelly and things and Michael Jackson's music. And so the question then becomes, what is your opinion on taking the value from people who have ethics we do not agree upon and still taking value from the things that they did contribute? And I think it's not a black and white area. It's a very gray area, right?
Yeah.
Getting all deep all of a
No, I
sudden.
love
and
it. I
shit.
love it.
Supposedly the Romans were very well known for, in their society, taking this idea of whatever rumor, whatever gossip you hear, it may have truth, it may not. So you should take whatever value you can from it.
Right.
And in the same way, we take in art. We listen to people who are crazy.
And can you not just like appreciate what's already been until you hit like I like Kevin Spacey as an actor, you know? I like his movies. And then that happens, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like a year or so before that happened, I was in a play, A Time to Kill. Or no, not A Time to Kill. What the fuck was I in? It was whatever.
That other one.
It had Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey and Kevin Spacey.
Miss Congeniate.
No, Samuel L. Jackson. Fucking A. I don't know. Anyways, I was in it, and I played Kevin Spacey's role, and I was stoked. I was like, you know, I wanted to bring something to it. I had this Louisiana accent. I was a real slimy fucking lawyer. It was a
Someone
great
who was
time.
regarded as
And like a couple of years after that, that news dropped, and it's like, shit. Like, that sucks to hear. Like, I love American Beauty. I love all this shit. So how do you feel about that? You know, what do you do about it? And I think, is it so wrong to, like, you've already experienced all this. It has a place in your heart. Can you not still appreciate that and just discontinue after that? Like, as of that time, as of that news, okay, this is severed. Like, he may have been like this the whole time, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like you can still appreciate that art, but from here on out, just don't follow him anymore. Like, don't continue to be like, oh, Kevin Spacey's in this movie, I'm going to watch this because of Kevin Spacey.
We
you know?
always don't we already do that though with our relationships? People look back at relationships and they can remember the good times they've had with all the people they've dated or anything like that.
It's a matter of
and
choice.
It might have
guess.
ended nasty,
Mhm.
and you don't follow them anymore. You don't give a fuck what they go do, and it might have ended sick and nasty. But you can still look back on I'll keep the good times and stuff like that. So I don't see why you couldn't still do that. I don't know.
I think the difference for that is we live in an age where there's a distance of relationships problem. And what I mean by this is these are all people you're talking about, people that you've had personal relationships with. And it's like, okay, I might see them again one day, or this is something I want to work past based on the time we spent together or whatever, right? But if it's Kevin Spacey, as much as I appreciated him as an actor in a lot of cases, once I've learned this, it's like, I really don't want to support his stuff.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying with this previous work
how
is
much
personal
can you
to
let
you.
that kind of stuff like affect your life too? Because at the end of the day, truly, who's Kevin Spacey to you? You know, what does it matter what your fucking opinion on the thing is? You know, like, you know, I understand this idea of like communally, like, oh well, we'll change if we all. It's like, well, can't we all agree to just be like, no more Kevin Spacey? Like, you know what I mean?
This is where I fall on the argument. I think if things are in this non-black and white gray area,
Right.
then they should be looked at in as much as possible an academic, clinically so sense, which is to say, you should have some kind of control over the environment and its conversation.
It's the stress level of it.
Yeah.
Like, how much are you going to allow this to stress you out? Like, how much are you going to be like,
In reality,
oh
not.
shit, like, I'm listening to an R. Kelly song. Should I freak out right now? It's like, take it easy and just either turn it off or don't. You know, like don't let it become this
Right,
thing.
when you're by
because
yourself,
before, prior
if you're
to
at
that
a
news,
wedding and you're the DJ
exactly.
and it comes on, you might want to turn that
prior
shit
to
off.
that news, what was that to you? You know, like what's the R. Kelly song that everybody loves? Like the big one.
Remix to Ignition.
Yeah, and it's like, you know how much that just comes on? You know, it's like, if that comes on, you think there's just going to be a fucking riot that breaks out? There might be. There could be.
Bounce,
but,
bounce, 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 bounce.
But I don't know. It's
I mean,
it's tricky.
Still play it.
It's still in my head.
Art people, there was...
They should all just play the Dave Chappelle version.
Well, I think the importance is the context.
Chappelle's
And given
getting a lot of
the
shouts.
timing of the R. Kelly stuff in the middle of the Me Too era and all of this stuff going on with women's rights and all of this stuff, it's not an argument necessarily to shy away from, but it is one to, again, come at in an academic sense and in a serious way, because it's...
You got to look at it from all angles. You got to look at it from multiple perspectives.
And the thing is, again, with Mein Kampf and Hitler and all this, as terrible as the man was and everything he tried to do with that, the way to avoid that in history and not repeat that is to not ignore what happened.
Right.
Is to acknowledge and confront that. And in that regard, I think, again, you can't let the Kevin Spacey and the R. Kelly stuff affect your life. Just as you're saying, you can choose to let it go or not. But if that comes on and all of a sudden all you can think about is all the friends that you've ever had tell you these abusive relationships they've been in, echoing these stories every time Remix to Ignition comes on, it's not worth listening to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
And again, the example of like if you're a DJ at a wedding or something, you never know who's listening to there. So I don't know. I take that same approach when I make my music. My mother's an elementary school teacher, and what I was going to say about cursing earlier was she always said that if people are cursing more than they're saying words, then they haven't thought about what they want to say. And so that whole idea about grandma was changed to fuck in that lyric.
Yes, and Beastie Boys. All the Klingons in the grandma house, in their grandma's house, sounds way better to me.
Kind of funny.
Well, yeah, it's
a
funnier
very specific
than the
image.
original version when it's like all the Klingons in the fucking house. It's like, well, that doesn't flow as well. It trips up a little, and the grandma's house thing is way fucking funnier. You know, like all you Star Trek geeks in your grandma's house, like absolutely, like that's way funnier
Nail
than
on the
fucking
head.
house. You know, yeah. There's a time and a place.
So yeah, I think context
is everything, honestly.
Yes.
And that's where we have to, you know, with this podcast, when we talk about things like this, we love talking about real shit. We love getting to know people and to talk to people and keep it real. But it's like, okay, where's that line? You know, it's an interesting time in entertainment. So let me offer you an alternate perspective on this Disney thing, right? Everybody's worried. Everybody's big thing is like, oh, they have power over. And the thing is, everybody that worries about it is the same 3 million some people that just got Disney Plus. You know, like it's the same people who love Marvel movies and Star Wars and like actually love Disney. And it's like, oh, they're taking over, like as they're fucking putting fucking money in the Mickey Mouse's hand.
It's a very South Park kind of.
Yeah.
I grew up punk, so I don't give none of these corporations none of my money.
Well, that's not true. We see Marvel movies all the time. He's a fucking liar.
Okay, I go to the theaters and see.
All right,
but that's where I draw the line. Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's the
Nothing beats a fucking IMAX.
Everybody's like, oh, they're taking over. They're buying up everything. They're doing all this. They've got everything. They make all this money because they got all these big blockbusters. So here is my argument to that. Can we acknowledge how they've done this? Because like I've followed it. I was a huge Marvel fan, and so that was like an end to Disney because they bought Marvel as I was into Marvel. They bought Star Wars as I was getting into Star Wars. Like they have all these things, and since getting those things, now there are definitely things that they've made, like with Star Wars.
So what you're actually officially saying is now is the time to invest in Disney stock.
Oh, fucking A, right. Like, yeah, absolutely. But here's what I'm saying. The honest to God, like the craftsmanship of these films, can we not acknowledge what they've done? Like, everybody's like, oh, they just own everything. It's like, yeah. But look at what they've done with it. As a creative force.
No, yeah.
Look at what they've done. They just made an entire epic 23 film, like, one storyline, like, that is unprecedented. Nobody else has done something like that. Star Wars shies in comparison when it comes to... They world build, for sure. But that is a comic book come to life. The way you get, like, okay, here's your solo ones, here's your everybody's coming together, and like your events, your spin-offs, your cameos, they brought that shit to life in a way that's never been done before. with Star Wars, they're now doing things with Star Wars that have never been done before. The Mandalorian is incredible. You know, you look at Disney Plus, you look at the shows and shit on there, and it's like, that's television today? Like, this looks like a fucking big budget blockbuster Star Wars movie. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like Disney's done a lot for themselves.
But
They've
that's
built
because
this
it's
empire.
not just, you know,
And I
TV
guess my argument
producing
here
it.
is
It's a
they
movie
deserve it.
company. No, they do.
So give Disney the world. They've earned it.
They deserve. They're good at what they're
It comes
doing.
down to political beliefs, I think. Is
Yeah.
really
Are you with the Disney party or are you against the Disney party?
Everything's got an ulterior motive, man.
Wow,
Like,
so
I don't know.
true.
All right.
It's really.
We know where the line's drawn.
I don't know, man. Like, I watched that show, The Toys That Created Us. I was telling him about it last night, and
That's pretty dope.
it's really weird to like learn how like everything I loved as a child, like Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, most of those were conceived just to push toys.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's fucked up, man. Like, I always came became because I loved this shit. No, that cartoon was created specifically
The products
for the
brought the
Ninja
content,
Turtles. Yeah.
not the other way around.
Yeah. Just to push toys. And it's kind of like messed up when you kind of, I don't know, get into the psyche of corporations and look at the backsides of them to see how, like, they're doing this stuff with Marvel, and that's baller, and I'm into that shit, so I think it's really dope. But they literally could have chose anything and probably done the same thing with.
Well, they've tried with other stuff.
But I mean, like, that was just a market that they knew was not tapped into.
Sure.
And I'm sure they'll take over. I mean, everybody's predicting now might be the stale point. It might be oversaturated. When you look at 2020 and 2021, the amount of movies, if you're into all these kind of things,
I hear what
the
you're
amount of
saying,
movies and TV shows and all this stuff coming out. It's like, I see it a lot because I'm a big wrestling fan. So right now, wrestling's going through the same thing. Whereas we've got wrestling on Monday nights, we've got wrestling on Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Friday nights, Sundays. It's like,
7 days a week.
I can't
Days
keep
that
up
end
with
in
all
that.
this fucking shit, guys. Like, I don't want to. I've got a life. I want to go out. I want to have fun. I want to do music. I want to do all this other shit. You know, back when it was just 2 nights a week, maybe one Sunday a fucking month, was easy. But then you get so like, I feel like, especially with like DC, like, I don't know, I follow DC more than Marvel because those were my comics growing up. I love DC. I love Constantine and the Hellblazer series and Batman and the Justice League and Flash and Aquaman. But now they're coming up and they're doing their same thing.
Their DC Universe shit is their best shit.
They have.
Everybody doesn't want all these other streaming services, but like, if you get the chance, because some of it's out on DVD now. Like, Titans is dope. Doom Patrol's like my favorite DC
honestly,
thing
and
ever.
Titans was one of those shows I looked at, like, when they put the trailer out, and I was like, this looks cheesy as fuck. This looks like it's gonna be dumb as fuck.
Fuck Batman.
They fucked this up hardcore. How could they keep fucking this shit
But then
up?
when I saw the show, I was like, you know what?
Then
Fuck
I gave
Batman.
then I
Absolutely,
gave the
Robin.
show, and at that moment you're like, that's right, fuck Batman, and this little bitch ass rules, don't kill people, Robin throwing those fucking,
I'm saving the day.
Nah, like, but like, so they're expanding on that though. From what I've heard, they're
That
expanding.
was our
on
review of Titans season 1.
Season 2 is just as dope. But they're expanding on that. I've heard with HBO Max. They're gonna converge
they're all
over
going over there
to HBO Max, and they're gonna keep putting Titans and Doom Patrol. And I've heard Red Hood series maybe on there, and a couple other ones. So you got all that, and then you look at like what they're doing with their movies. Looks like DC may finally got their head out of their ass and be doing the right stuff. Joker was a good plus.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey looks promising.
True. That's
It
right.
actually looks like it'll be a nice and a fun movie. And I don't see how. I've heard talks lately they're going to release the Snyder cut, maybe finally, of Justice League.
That'd be nice.
I believe today, actually, they had a big social media push to get them to do it because they said that. Like Zack Snyder's in on it, like all these higher ups are in on it, that they think that Warner Brothers is actually paying attention this time to see just how much people, because they just put out like the movies like 214 minutes or something like that, and I want to see that.
I do too. I'd love to see a better version of the Justice League.
Yeah, that was the biggest letdown. I think movies of my life.
So I know we're probably running out of time here. Real quick, before we jump into something else, I wanted to let you know, because I know on y'all's radio show, like, one of your first episodes, I think, you were talking about the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that there's a film coming out in like a couple of
seen
months
that.
called the
I've
Mandela
seen
effect.
that.
I was going to send you the trailer if you haven't seen it.
I've seen it. I haven't.
Aaron's on the same shit, so you need to check that movie out.
No, I want to check that one out for sure.
So, fellas, we're at the end of the show. And,
Claw me!
get this guy a claw. And I think now that all laws are off, it's a good time to do Phillip Hazen's top 5.
It's coming up.
Phillip Hazen's top 5. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody loves Phillip Hazen's top 5 except for Phillip Hazen. I forgot where the camera was there for a minute. The claws are loose. They're out. The claws are out. Phil's confused. He's sweating. He's nervous.
Do we agree on one?
Ready.
What?
So what's it going to be,
I'm trying
fellas?
to guess.
Phillip Hazen's top 5. What's it going to be for episode 5? What's it? 5s all around.
Top 5s.
Flavor of pie.
Top 5
Flavor of pie. Come on, it's the 5th episode. Do something else. Come on, flavor of pie. Flavor of pie.
I thought we were supposed to guess. We're giving him the one he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Holy crap, this changes everything.
I told you, and John gave him his one last week.
So I said top 5 pisses.
I know, that one's like, did you see the light in his eyes?
Since he just had one of his best pisses.
If you want,
on the show.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
All right, guy. You just had your best piss on the show that you said you've had.
I thought about this earlier.
The top 5 pisses that you've ever had. Man.
Okay, great. I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought that.
Okay,
so
best pisses, man.
Phillip Hazen's
Validation
top
culture.
5 pisses he's ever taken.
Oh man.
Like, I guess just tell us like where you were. Tell us.
I
Like,
could get like top 5 like craziest pee story.
Hey, that's good.
Just
Crazy-
had sex for the first time.
We'll call him Phillip Hazen's top 5 craziest
Top
pisses he's ever taken.
There
Let's
you
hear it.
go. I don't know, I mean, because there's a lot of times where it's just like, since I do have such a small bladder, like sometimes, like going on long road trips and shit, it's just like,
Close
we'll
calls.
go places, yeah, for sure. There's times where it's like I have to do like a little waddle, because like, I can't run at that point because I've held it for so long, like shaking in the back. There's one time we got lost on the road, and I ended up actually pissing my pants on the whole trip.
Fuck, I'm sorry.
And
I'm
it's just
laughing.
crazy. That was great. This is what
Yeah.
we needed. So the Jeep one was one piece story for sure. Getting lost and then peeing my pants.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
tell my
Jeep. So
parents.
there's one.
So there's
Okay.
one. Second one, I was with my cousin. And I was like around 5'6". I was with my cousin and I had to pee. And he kept on saying like just the dumbest shit to like, he was like waterfall, you know, like pee, just because he knew I had to pee. So he just wanted it on the brain. And so like I had to pee so bad. Like we got to the house, like got in the parking lot and I just couldn't hold it. And it's just too much at that point, and I just pissed right there. I was so mad at my cousin. I was like, if you would just left me alone. I always had to be pushing the boundaries.
Oh man, I would do some ruthless stuff in that situation if my cousin was doing that. Oh,
But then let's see. Another one.
So
Yeah,
there's two
and then there's one where I almost didn't make it with my dad. We were in the truck together. And like we just left, and like baby had to be like 10 minutes later because of my small bladder. I went, I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, okay, I'm good to go. We're going. I was like, fuck. So I kind of have to pee again. And so then like holding it for like 30, 45 minutes, and I'm like, okay. And then I was like, alright, well now I'm gonna need to say something. Because now I'm just getting to a point where I'm like, I just ain't gonna work.
something has to
And so
happen.
then I say something, but like I say something like right after we pass the town. And so the next one's not for like 20 some miles or whatever. And so then I was like, he was like, how bad is it? Like I was like, I just don't know how much longer. Like I got angry. It was like, well, man, he's like, you're gonna have to hold it for a little bit. So like we're just like cruising. Like he is cruising to the next guy. He's like, I got there, jumped out of the truck, and I had to just quickly walk as I couldn't run. It just hurt. I was like hunched over. I was like, oh my goodness. That was
a nasty one.
There's 3.
That was a nasty piss.
My bladder's hurting from this.
Your
one.
bladder's
I
hurting.
know these stories make
Makes me
me
want to
apathy.
stop
There's
drinking.
gonna be a line at the bathroom
gross.
after
This
this.
is terrible.
This is the problem with small bladder.
You're shaking your leg right now. You gotta piss so bad.
Right, it's crazy.
Your fifth craziest piss is gonna be right after this.
Right after this, I've been holding it ever since I sat back down. Like,
So what's
Hoping
your-
they
what's your
wouldn't
number
talk
4?
about it.
What's your number 4?
4. Oh man. Let's see. 4. Losing steam.
You got 2 more piss stories. There's gotta be.
There's one where I think it was in the 5th grade. Like, I had to go, and then they said that you weren't allowed to like ask like any questions for any reason. Like, I went before he went, and still had to go. Like halfway, it was like a hour and a half long like
Lecture.
yeah, like in the auditorium. Like everyone was there. It was like a huge thing. It was like for the DARE program. And so I had to go. I was just like, oh my goodness.
Asked to pee. I double dog.
Yeah. And
Another
then-
child
for
hurt by
real,
DARE
Because
programs.
like they really like put the foot down. Like for when they're like, don't be interrupting this. Like it's like, oh my god. And so then I had to go. Like I was shaking. Everything. I was like, when is this gonna end? It was just grueling. The whole time I was just like, this is terrible. And then and I finally went. And then when I did, it just hurt from holding it for so long. Like that was the worst one. And then, I don't know, I'm sure in the military we'll just do an overall 5, like because you got to drink so much water. Like
This
a
is
day.
number 5?
Yeah, just military peace in general will be my favorite.
Oh, I gotcha.
I'll just glump it up all into one because it's the whole
Glump
base.
it up all
Glump it
into
up.
one. That phrasing.
Yeah.
Lump it up all.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Only here.
Number 5 was the
Glump
Glump.
it up.
The Glump
yeah,
would be
'cause
the
we had-
best punk band name.
We had
There you go. Your next musical
Yeah.
endeavor, the Glump, with this guy,
the Glumps. That's
Phillip and the Glumps.
Phillip and the
Right.
Glump sounds great.
That's what's up.
Hell
But
yeah.
I had to drink so much water throughout basic, but then it was hard because like you'd go through hours and hours of lectures and you don't want to keep getting up to go to the bathroom because then they're gonna just be like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you going to the bathroom like every 10 minutes?" Is like, why do you haven't drinking like 2
I have a
gallons
small bladder.
a day, right?
Doesn't
It's
sound like a
And so then it's like, yep. So then I had to balance between not peeing and then staying hydrated enough to fucking do everything.
It's fucked up,
It
bro.
was hard.
I'm sorry you
I,
had to deal
uh,
with that.
Hell yeah.
I would do a top 5 myself this week, but I think we're running out of time. I was gonna match your piss top 5.
Do you just want to do
with
like a
my-
story each?
I have like a top 5 shit stories myself. His is the piss, mine is the shit. It's the different struggles we deal with as personal
Yin and yang.
levels. Exactly,
Right.
piss and shit. We go together like piss and shit.
You already got
Uh,
it. Look, that's fine.
Still, is that the title of the episode? We go together like piss and shit. You want to write a song for us? That'll be like one of our PCP songs. We go together like piss and
We
shit.
go together like piss and shit.
Piss and shit.
like piss and shit. I said,
You
go
piss and-
together like
when you
piss and
shit.
shit. Water and oil ain't got nothing on us. I said,
Okay. I'm glad we got a freestyle because we got 5 good Phil stories. Last week we tried to get John to freestyle and Phil to tell a story. Phil told a story, to your credit, but we just got 5 stories and a freestyle, so that's pretty good too.
There you go.
We're hitting a treasure trove of like episode
It was
names in this
episode
last
5,
5 minutes.
so
So. But I guess the shit stories will have to wait for another day
Shit.
because I know y'all are trying to take off.
I got a lot of shit stories myself, man. Those ones always happen.
Oh, Mike, yeah. I guess I can give one. I'll give one
Yeah,
as a
give one.
closer.
Yeah.
I gotta pick one. Let's see here. Okay, here's a goodie. So
golden.
I was a young child. I was a young boy. Probably this is like 5th grade. You know, so we moved into a new house, and my parents told me I was notorious for clogging the toilet. I was that kid who would like hold his shit in, like, and it's like, what are you doing over there? You're like, nothing, playing with blocks, like, you know, holding in your shit. And it's like,
Go to the bathroom.
what are you doing, Mom and Dad? So we moved into this house in like 5th grade, 6th grade, something like that.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was still clogging toilets. I just it was a shitting problem, man. I didn't like shitting. And they told me, they're like, listen, if you gotta take a shit, you go outside behind that shed, and that's where you shit. I later found out that was a joke. But I didn't know that when that first shit hit. And so it hit me. I was like, oh, I got shit. Oh, that's right. Can't use the indoor toilets. So I went outside and I propped myself up against the shed. And I took a nice shit. It was nice, clean shit. Went inside, wiped, cleaned up. I took a stick and I kind of shoved it under the wall. There was like a gap in the shed. Shoved it in there. Covered it with leaves. I'm not a savage. You know, I'm a cultured man.
I understand what adults.
I know how the bathroom works inside. There's no reason to be an animal. So
I don't see any shit just laying
later
around.
That night,
So.
I feel relieved. I feel great. I obeyed my parents. I felt dope. And later that night at dinner, we're having dinner and dinner conversation. I was like, oh, I had to take a shit today. And I told him about it. And I was like, and I did it out back behind the shed. Dude, 0 to 60 just started laughing their asses off. Like, tears streaming down their face, laughing so fucking hard at me. Because they were like, we were joking. And it's just like...
How old were you? Was this like...
It was like 5th or 6th grade.
This is the last time I was home.
I was just like, oh. So out of spite, I kept shitting behind the shed.
No,
I'm just kidding.
To this day.
To this day, I still shit behind the shed.
I don't even live there, man.
I'll come out from behind the shed.
I've been holding it. They live across town and
shit. They got a bigger dog, so
they get off work.
They don't even know. They got a bigger dog now. They don't even know.
You just shit all over the yard. That's what
I just shit all over the yard, and they step in it. They're like,
they've been picking up my shit for years,
and they don't even know it. That ain't a great closer.
That's good. No, that's it.
How do you feel as a dad? Do you feel like you're gonna have to deal with this one day?
No.
Do you want to close
I hope not.
He
said, "No, I'm gonna end his life before it gets to that."
Oh yeah, he'd get his ass kicked.
Guys, it was great having you. This was a
good,
fun episode.
man.
It got real interesting. We took a roller coaster there at the end.
We talked about some
Went
shit.
to a couple places.
But that's what PCP is about. We love to get weird. We love to say yes. It's Wuvember. It's celebrating the Wu-Tang. It's being about self-betterment, wellness.
I'm with it.
Reaching those goals, making those goals, bettering yourself, saying yes to things, singing karaoke, rocking the shit out of Rocket Man while Phil dances his ass off and is the greatest hype man ever.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a hype man.
Alcohol does. That really gets me talking loud.
Thanks, White Claw.
Absolutely.
Thanks, White Claw, for
sponsoring this
the
episode.
sponsorship. Hopefully.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I was Chase Todd.
I was Phillip Hazen.
I was Humbly G.
I was the artist formerly known as Johnny Cash.
AKA Jimmy Puffin. AKA no, we're not doing it. Guys,
It's too much.
it was great having you.
Here.
We'll have to have you back on the couch sometime.
Any fucking time, man.
Glad I got you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You can't slip past my grasp anymore.
Long.
Good work, team.
Shut off, Chase.
Right at 5. Look at that.
I never hit record.
That's funny.